guess that means spring's around the corner. Hey YouTubers, what's up? First thing I'm going to say is you guys probably all hate me since I haven't been around to make many videos this winter, and unfortunately I've been, you know, my typical excuse, I've been very busy with school, and this is the toughest time of the school year, third marking period, and I've just been having a lot of stuff going on, and I just haven't been able to really, you know, spend as much time as I'd like to on my tractors and make YouTube videos and stuff like that. So today I've had a little time, and it's a pretty nice day. It's like probably about 35 degrees, 40 degrees. It's not as cold as it's been, but as you can see, we've gotten in the past couple of weeks, we've had some snow finally, some real winter, you know, New Jersey winter snow, real heavy wet snow too. Most of it's, I mean, it's still a little soft, but it's, in other spots it's iced over. We got about 10 inches of it, and it started to melt, and I was able to plow with the 210, but I actually ended up having to use the snow blower several times. The snow blower saved me at the end of the day. That little Tecumseh motor was really getting up and running good, which was surprising, because ever since we've had this, I mean, we've had problems with the carburetor, and it was, you know, hard to start. But these motors are very simple, and they seal them up, so it's hard to get to the carburetor or any of that stuff. And they're gravity-fed fuel tanks too, because they just mount the tank right there. But this thing hasn't been too bad. Once it really warms up, it runs good. We probably used it more times this season than we have since we bought it, and we've actually had this longer. Or we got this when we got the LA150. We actually went down to get a snowblower. We left the house with the intention of getting a snowblower, and ended up coming back with a snowblower and a mower. So we've had them just as long, and the snowblowers worked good this season. It's really helped with the heavy wet snow too. You can see I've been blowing it everywhere. But anyway, enough with that stuff. It's I just thought I'd make an update video on my two tractors and tell you what my situation is right now. So I got this 12 horsepower Kohler in this tractor, as you guys all know, and I've been running it here and there when I have time, just trying to break it in a little bit more, since it was rebuilt not too long ago, and it had been sitting for a while, you know, out of the tractor, and then listed on eBay, and then while it was shipped over here, then I had to put all the carburetor, starter, air cleaner, all that stuff on it. And then I've kind of been lacking the past couple months, so I'll just kind of fill you in, and that, because the last video I made with me plowing a little bit of snow, that was not really an overview. I just gave you a recap, a quick recap, but I'll show you real quick the things I've done to it since December. Replaced the coil, because the threads on the other coil were stripped. The threads on the positive and negative post were stripped, so I couldn't hold the wires on. New condenser, wired up good and tight. I thought that might have been the reason why it wasn't running right. So I just got a new condenser with the wire and everything. Ran a new wire from the ground to the points, and I also got new points too, and I finally got good at gapping them. There you go. Obviously, as you can see, I've got the cover off right now, but I finally got them gapped properly, 20 thousandths of an inch, trying to prevent, you know, any misfiring or knocking, which hasn't been too successful, but now I'm really starting to get it. So I think I finally hit the nail on the head this time. And I didn't realize this is the ignition timing. You can see there's that little sight hole there, and there's a little marking on the flywheel with an arrow, and basically you just have to line it up so that, looking at it just like this, straight on, you line up the hole in this, or you line up the mark in the center of the hole, and when it's centered, you have to gap the points. So I did that, and it's been knocking a lot less than it has before. I mean, these Kohlers do like to knock, but like, that's part of their nature, but this was knocking too much, like the rod was about to break, which would suck, because this was rebuilt sometime last year or the year before. So now it is a little sketchy because I bought it on eBay. I should have, you know, come out of a running tractor and everything, but it didn't. Well, not that I got to see anyway. So so just make sure, if you're going to buy something like that, you see it run, you see it here, run first, you make sure you know what you're getting at. I mean, this hasn't been too bad. I've had to fix a couple things, and I'm still fixing things on it, but it's been problematic, and now that I've been messing with it, I think I've finally gotten it straightened out. So you see it's got a little bit of an oil leak down there. I'm not sure where that's coming from, but I have to just keep looking at it. I cleaned the carburetor. I'm not going to get all the way under there, but I cleaned the carburetor and installed a new intake gasket behind the carb because it was leaking gas, and it had a bit of an air leak too. You can spray carburetor cleaner in it and it would start to scream, just like any old carbureted engine. So I cleaned the carburetor and I put a new intake gasket on it. I was going to adjust the valves too because I thought maybe it had a stuck valve or something. So I took the valve cover off, and then about halfway through I said, no, you know what, it probably doesn't need it. So I just ended up replacing the valve cover gasket to make sure it wasn't leaking any oil, because it was leaking a bit of oil out of there. I put a new gasket on it, now it's not leaking any oil, so we're good. But I'll keep checking it just to be positive. I still have to figure out where the leak's coming from, but it's nothing major. And you can see there's a little down there, which sucks, but and I've just been, you know, trying to use it for snow, and when I'm not using it for snow, I use the snow blower and been trying to run it around a little bit, and it's been doing all right. I've got 75 pounds on each wheel, so that's not too bad, and the chains have been helping me too. I've taken it up through the woods once or twice when there was no snow, and the chains have definitely helped. Another addition you'll notice is a sleeve hitch. I just bought this on eBay about a month ago. I spent a little too much for it, but there was a couple I was looking at, and one I was just about to win, and then I got outbid at the last second. Go figure. So I had this one as a backup, and I said, all right, I'll just buy this. It was a pretty good deal, except it had, well, for one thing, it had this piece of chain to lift it from the lift linkage, and actually the chain was too short, so I just took an S-hook and stuck it in there, and it works fine. And then I added a bolt with a nylock nut here to hold it on there, so that works fine, but it doesn't, as you can see, it gives it play because the chain can bend. I need to get the actual lift rod for this, and I'm going to use this as a wheelie bar. I got some gauge wheels laying around. I'm going to take some steel and bolt the gauge wheels too, and then run a support bar to each side to keep it stable, because with the way this is set up, the lift rod has a little bit of play, so if it hits the ground or something and you pull a wheelie, it can flip up like this, and that's not what a wheelie bar is supposed to do. So I got a little hitch pin for it, which is kind of neat. The other thing with this hitch was this metal latch that holds the spring-loaded pin was completely gone when I got it. Like, it had been completely broke off. So my uncle, because he's such a great welder, he's saved my ass so many times before, we took a couple pieces of steel and just kind of welded and torched a couple little slots, and you can't really see it here. We torched a couple slots in there, and then I got a new roll pin. And this spring-loaded pin I actually got off of a spare mower deck that I had. I just sold it last week. It was my uncle's old mower deck off of his 318. I took it home. I was gonna use it for parts, but I decided to try and sell it. I took the spring-loaded pin off, like one of these spring-loaded pins here on the draft arm. This isn't this is a 200 series deck, obviously. The 300 series uses a different draft arm, but we just we took the pin off of that and heated it up with the torch and cut it down to the right length, and then made this new latch and cut a slot in it with the torch and welded it on there, and it's been working good. It's been holding good. So I still need to figure out what I'm going to do for a wheelie bar. I mean, I'm going to make support bars for it too, but I need to figure out a way to lock the lift rod up so the hitch doesn't flex when it hits the ground. But I'll just do a quick startup of this for you. Yeah. I'll get back to that in a second. The battery's low. I think the stator on this motor's no good, which sucks because the stator on the K241 was no good either. It drains the battery pretty quick, and I barely even used the lights. I still got it sitting here. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet. I still need to just put the side panels, and when I take the plow off, I'll put the brush guard back on it and the grill. And another thing real quick, I got my Tru-Power tires, and I ended up buying an extra set of turf tires and rims off of my friend Jimmy, John Deere 318 guy. Go check his channel out. He had these laying around, and they're in pretty good shape. I mean, this one tire's got a patch, but I don't need the turf tires anyway. I had these same turf tires on my tractor when I got it, and I got rid of them. So I just needed the rims because I have the Tru-Power tires for the tractor pull. I'm ready for the tractor pull, but I needed to get a set of rims. So I just got these off of Jimmy, and I'm going to take the turf tires off, and I might do something with them. Probably won't. I might sell them, but I'll think about that. So I've got my tire tower there, if you will. And then, man, I've been going for 10 minutes already. I'll try to make this quick. I know I have a habit of making my videos very long. The tractor that everyone seems to hate, the LA150 over here. I've been discussing with my dad a little bit about what we're going to try and do with it this year, because I ended up using this tractor a lot more than I had expected last season. It's got just about 300 hours on it now, and I actually haven't been going in the shed much for anything. I haven't started this tractor since like beginning of January, and I just did a little bit of brush mowing with it, but it needs a tune-up and everything. It needs to be cleaned up and everything, but this thing, as much trouble as this thing's been giving me over the past few years, once we put a new stator and battery in it, it's been running really good. And it's definitely made up for the past couple of years, because I used it all summer to do most of my mowing when I wasn't using the 210 or the LX176 that I had just to try it out. But this is my main mower because it's got a big mower deck, and it's, I'm comfortable driving it. But I mean, this is an entry-level lawn tractor. It's nothing special. And if I'd known in 2008 what I knew now about these garden tractors, we definitely wouldn't have bought this one. At the time, we had just moved into our house. We needed a riding mower, and we were in Lowe's one day, actually getting the snowblower, like I said. And the sales associate said, "Here, I got this." He was actually wheeling this thing around through the store to park it, and he offered it to us for $1,000. And you really can't. It was practically new. We couldn't really refuse. But like I said, if I had known then what I knew now, I would have said no. But for some reason, we weren't looking to buy used. But now that's all I want to do is buy used. So, I mean, I've been using the 210 to do my snow removal, it's an okay tractor. It's very heavy duty and has a decent amount of power, but the manual lift is very annoying, and it's not hydraulic lift. And on the 200 series, they don't have down pressure because the lift can only travel so far, because it's really just for the mower deck. So not having down pressure actually doesn't help that much in the snow. But the 300 series with the hydraulic lift and angle blades have down pressure and all that stuff, and I've got several friends who use them. Jimmy's got two 318s and his 322 now, and my friend DJ, who's JD Gator on YouTube, check him out too. He just bought a 318 with a 47 dual stage snowblower, so I feel like I've been kind of left out. So I'd really like to catch up, and I was saying how I don't want to get a 300 series until I'm out of college, because then I'll be able to, afford one and have the time to work on it. But I think since this tractor's getting high hours, I mean, these are only built to last about 400 or 500 hours at the most, and it's got around 300 on it now. Since this is getting high hours, and it's starting to wear down a little bit. It's not going to last too much longer, but it's still a decent machine. I mean, I've been keeping up with maintenance pretty much. I figured since this tractor is going to be wore out, before long, I might try and sell it. I've said this the past 2 years, but now we're really going to try and do this. We're going to try and sell it on eBay or Craigslist, get a couple hundred for it, and I'll work a little bit and put some money towards the 300 series tractor. I like a 318 or a 316 owning, but I'd have to spend a little extra money to find one that doesn't have high hours and doesn't burn any oil, because those owning engines are very expensive to work on when they're not when they need to work, because they don't make them anymore. So if I'm going to buy one with an owning, it's going to have to be one that's not doesn't have too much wear and tear. So I'd have to be willing to spend up to about $2,000. I might be able to get about $1,000 out of this, because most people around here just look for something that mows grass. They don't care if it's heavy duty, or most people around here don't even know the difference between a lawn tractor and a garden tractor. So I mean, this is good for my yard because it's mostly flat, but a lot of my neighbors have walkout basements, so their yards are all hills. So I mow a lot of hills with this too, and I don't want to wear out the transmission, because the crappy transmission actually, it's still holding up. I mean, it's still got power to climb hills, even with 300 hours on it, which is a lot longer than some of these go. But I still think someone with a small flat yard could benefit from this. I could probably get about like 800 to 1200 out of this. I'm not completely sure. I'll probably list it at like 1200 and just see what happens. But I gotta, obviously not right now. I'm not gonna list it, but I will soon enough. I'll list it as soon as mowing season starts, when everyone's looking for a mower, because that's the best time to sell. And it needs things like the mower deck is a little out of balance, and it needs to be cleaned up and pressure washed, as you can tell. It's got imperfections like this. I brushed up against trees and stuff with this deflector chute, and it's been, you know, chunked and everything. It's got gator blades on it, which are in good shape. They just need to be balanced, like I said. The main thing, I put tire tubes in the front tires last year, but they use these cheap little bushings in the front wheels instead of bearings. And sure enough, they've already wore out, so you can see how they're, you can see how it's kind of pigeon-toed. And both of the tires are going bald. I never really did anything about it, but I'm going to replace the front wheel bushings with the LT100 series bearings, like the LT133 and the LT155 and the LX176 and all those models use, because those are actual metal bearings, not the cheap bushings, and they actually hold up. So, and I'll do that. I'll sharpen the blades and, you know, give it a whole tune-up and everything, change the filters and oil, and balance the deck. The deck balancing is another big thing that it needs, but other than that, it hasn't been too bad. And maybe we'll buy a 300 series. I'm not sure. I've gotten sick of messing with the belt drive on the 210, because the crankshaft key, it's the right size, but the crankshaft key just keeps on sliding in and out, and I have to keep getting off and shutting the motor down and fixing the drive belt and then starting it back up and going again. So I'm just kind of sick of messing with drive belts, and I'd like a shaft drive tractor with hydraulic lift and down pressure, and I've always wanted a 300 series. That's what I wanted to find, you know, 4 years ago when I started looking. I had a low budget, so I ended up with the 210, but 4 years ago I probably would have, I should have saved up a little more and bought a good 300 series. So I'm going to try looking for a 300 or a 316 Kohler or a 318 or something like that, and then it's going to last me a long while. Like I said, I might be able to get about maybe 1,000, 1,200 for this, maybe, if I can get it tuned up and everything working good on it. So we'll see. But in my area, if the 300 series comes up, they're not too bad. 200 and 300 series aren't that expensive where I live, so except the 318s. Since they're the least common, they're a little more expensive, but a 316 Onan is pretty much the same tractor. People just don't know the difference. Anyway, enough chatting, because I like to talk, but I need to keep you guys updated. So thank you for keeping up with me, watching the video and everything. I haven't even touched this tractor since early January, so oil's probably a little bit low. Yeah, we're good. I'm only running it for a few minutes, but I'll change the oil before the season starts and everything. Might use a little bit and replace the front wheel bushings with bearings and clean up all this grease and crap and dirt and everything that's getting on it. I don't know if the battery's, you know, dead or anything, but it's been a while since I started it, so I'm going to see what she can do. And this battery held the charge most of last winter, so we should be good, but let's see what she does. Oh, it's still got a charge. That's good. Pretty sure it's got gas in the tank. Usually when it cold starts, it doesn't take that much. Yeah, she's got gas. There's bugs and stuff in that tank. I gotta clean it out one of these days, but let's give her a shot again. A little more throttle. Move the throttle up a little more. Talk about a cold start. Battery's starting to wear down. It's definitely got gas in the tank. I mean, we're just having a hard time pumping it up. It's never been this hard to start when it's cold. Let me get my gas can. All these gas cans are empty. I have one more in the garage. Let me get that and fill it up real quick. Alright, I put gas in the tank. It ought to start now. I got the throttle about halfway up, so it should be getting more fuel. Wow. Really? If you could start any minute now, that would be nice. It's got gas in the filter, so it's definitely getting it. It's just, I don't know if it takes a long time for this pump to, fill up or what. I'm not even going to worry about not getting spark, because there's no reason it shouldn't be. It has been sitting for a month and a half. Yep, she's dead. Jeez. Huh. See if I can get my jumper on it, and let me see if we can start it. Oh, what the hell do you know? Not even my jumper will start it. Oh, that's 2 failed cold starts for today. That sucks. Oh well. Well, I'll have more. I'll try to have more videos coming in the future. It's going to be tricky. And this summer, I'd like to get into tractor pulling with the 210, so that should be something to look forward to. And I actually got a job working as an engineering intern, an engineer intern or apprentice, whatever you want to call it. So I'll actually be doing that 5 days a week. So I'm going to have to either do my mowing at nights or on the weekends, and I'll still make it work though. But hopefully by the time summer comes around and I have to work that job, I'll have a pickup truck. And just this past week, I had my birthday and got my license, so I'm basically free now. I just need a truck. I'm saving up for a 97 to 2003 F-150 extended cab, preferably with a long bed, and a 4.6 or a 5.4 V8. I tried to get something a little older, but around here, especially living up in the north where they use so much salt on the roads, it's hard to find an old metal one with, with no rust in the wheel wells. So, they're very easy trucks to work on and everything, and they're plentiful, but there's just so many of them that are used as work trucks, and they're all rusty and everything. So unfortunately, I kind of had to give up on that, but I tried to get the next generation, which is, over 10 years old, but it's not ridiculously old. Anything newer than that, I don't really care for, so, but we'll see what I can get. I'll start making videos of that, too, me driving it, and, going all different places. I've been checking out some old farmhouses, abandoned farmhouses and stuff in the area. I don't know if you guys find that boring, but that's something I've always liked to do. I mean, there were a lot more in my area, but the farmers have been, the taxes have been going up. Farmers can't afford to pay the taxes, so the houses get demolished, and unfortunately, many of them have disappeared. So I figured I'd start checking out a few of the remaining ones before they're all gone, and this is all turned into housing developments, like our own farm, too. We turned our own farm into a housing development, and that's where we live now, so it kind of sucks, but yeah, so that's just, I've been doing that sort of as a placeholder, but I hope you guys enjoyed this update video. I'm sorry it's real long again. I have a habit of making very long videos, and I'm not sure why, but I just hope you guys enjoyed them, and hopefully this is enough to keep you guys happy and updated. I just feel like I don't want you guys to think I've been neglecting you. I've just been caught up in so much crap. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and spring's around the corner, so I should have some videos. I'll try to have some videos coming soon.